Hello, how is everyone out there doing today? We're live from EDS 2024. We've had quite an experience this week, and today to join me here for another episode of the Walden Executive Series is Sedge Cheng, Director of Global Distribution at Kyocera AVX. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Rick. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you. How's, Sedge, big baseball fan himself in his own right.
Yeah.
And how are your Giants doing this year?
Giants are not doing so good this year. I think we have a long season, so to speak. I was actually in the Giants Stadium about 2 weeks ago. I was able to catch a game just to see our Giants getting really killed by our rival down south in LA. So no, I think it's going to be a more difficult season for us. But you always have hope. I mean, it's just like that every year, even in the industry when we're in this kind of cycle, right?
Sure.
A down cycle. I mean, we always see a little bit of glimpse of hope, a little bit of silver lining here and there. So hopefully we can gather some good experience from this season and then move on to a better one. Yeah.
So next time you're down in Southern California, we'll take in a Dodgers or an Angels game or Padres game. Hey, let's talk a little bit first of all about your journey at Kyocera AVX.
Sure,
Tell
of
us a little
course.
bit about that.
Of course. So again, thanks for having me in this series. So my name is Cedric Cheng, and I go by Sedge. I was born and raised in Taiwan, and then I started my career with one of the largest CMs in Taiwan. And as life and career progressed, I was relocated to the US back in 2017. Then when I had a chance to join AVX in 2020, I took that opportunity. And so here I am going into the 5th year with Kyocera AVX, which is the name that we're known as of today. For those of you who are not so familiar with the name Kyocera, it's actually a Japanese-based $15.5 billion conglomerate based out of Kyoto, Japan, and it's publicly listed in Tokyo Stock Exchange. So we have more than 80,000 employees and more than 200 group companies. We, as Kyocera AVX Components Corporation, are one of the two teams underneath the entire electronic components business, alongside with our two other business, which are core components business as well as solutions business. So together, these three businesses, we aim at creating a better future for the global society.
Yeah. So we've had several challenges. You've been there for 5 years. You had you're coming out of the 2018,
Sure.
obviously, right? Then you get thrust right into the pandemic.
Right.
So what do you see the biggest challenges that you're facing in 2023 or 2024 and 2025 in distribution?
Sure. First of all, I think I want to kind of touch on distribution just in general, because we really embrace the distribution model. We love working with our distributors. They're a big part of our business. We have great relationship with many of the most respected distributors around the world. We also have several regional local distributors to fulfill the customer demands or customer needs in the local markets. So we have a pretty broad base and pretty strong distribution network now, and we're fortunate to work with them on a daily basis and grow the business together. Now, talking about the trends and challenges, I think, as we all know, I think the couple of trends that I'm seeing is that, first of all, I think this electronic market industry is continuous growing, so it's only going to get bigger. Of course, we're kind of at the down cycle at this point. Everybody's trying to see where the light at the end of the tunnel is. But it's still a good market, it's still a good business, and we're very hopeful for the business in the future. The second thing that I'm seeing is that I think we're going to see more and more faster cycles. I remember we just came out another cycle, 2018, and now we were in another cycle, which is 2021, 2020. And then so I think that cycles are going to come faster. And so hopefully we're going to be out of this down cycle a bit sooner. And I think we also see another trend, which is the golden screw phenomenon. So again, I mean, it could be a MLCC, it could be a resistor, it could be a tantalum capacitor, it could be anything. And then the thing is that regardless of the price or the ASP of that component, as long as you are missing one component, you can't build the end product. So I think we're going to see more and more of that golden screw phenomenon. And then obviously there's geopolitical sensitivities with the, let's say, tensions in between nations or regions, competitions. So we're seeing a bit of that. And the last thing I want to touch on, I think, is the data science, because with the AI evolution, I think we're seeing more and more distributors and more friends in the industry that are trying to see how AI is going to help our business and going to help us, let's say, make better decisions, or being able to summarize better data for the use of our future businesses.
I think you're right. I've been in this industry a long time, and the cycles do seem to be coming much quicker.
Sure.
It seemed like they happen about every 10 years. If I go back to 2020, or I should say 2000, migrating into 2009, 2010. Now all of a sudden it's 2018, 2020, and now all of a sudden we're in this lull right now. I think we bottomed out, trying to get out of it right now. But how does Kyocera AVX actually find their way in positioning themselves into servicing these emerging markets that are?
Sure. I think, well, that's a good question. I think we're very fortunate to have a very strong team in the headquarters. Actually, we have people in the business development team. They're really smart people, and they're looking at the different technologies, different applications, the new tech applications. They're gathering the feedbacks from sales and marketing, working with us at the front end, and then also working with our R&D group in the back end, who are in the labs working on the latest material. These are people who are, again, super smart material scientists, not the ones that, maybe they're wearing white coats in the labs, putting together some better materials and better materials for us. We have those people looking at all these things for us to develop the new products for the purpose of the new technologies or new applications, and they create these application notes for us so that we could work with our customers or work with our distributors to introduce those products from an application standpoint. Because I think at the end of the day, at Kyocera AVX, we have pretty broad portfolio, and we like to see ourselves as a solutions provider, not just selling a one single component or one single part number. So we like to present ourselves to approach the customer that way with those kind of applications. So I think with those new technologies, we have those people who are helping us on the back end continuously provide us with ammos to address the customer needs. And then in terms of the emerging markets, different markets, I think our regional sales team, they do a tremendous job in the region, in the field, with our distributor partners, with their feet on the street, to identify customers, identify opportunities. So we emphasize a lot on these face-to-face meetings. Of course, since COVID, I think we got into a bit of hybrid mode. Everybody's trying to figure out what's the best way to approach the customer these days. But we still believe that the business is done in between people and people, and then we do believe that kind of face-to-face contact is the ones that we truly believe the values are in. So we continuously support our customer and then work with our distributors to visit customers, and from there we gather the information and then try to help address those emerging markets and emerging customers.
Sure. Now transitioning a little bit closer to home here in the distribution side of it, what do you see the biggest obstacles and opportunities do you see facing distribution, let's say, moving forward into 2025?
Sure. I think, again, I kind of want to touch on just distribution and us, of course, in general, from a challenge and opportunity standpoint, right? I think the challenges are, like I said, I think we came out of the COVID era, right? And certainly the way that people do business was a little bit different, right? Because I remember when COVID first started, I was still in San Jose, California, and you think it was a 2 weeks stay at home, and then after that everybody can come out and then life goes on, continue on doing what you're doing. But then it was a very extended period of everybody just stay home and not.
Well, you know me in COVID.
Yeah.
I didn't go outside
and the baseball cap at that time. Right?
I didn't go outside my house for 2.5 years. Actually, the first person that I saw coming out of COVID, I got a haircut and went and saw you.
Exactly. Sure. So, I mean, that was kind of a different change of, let's say, model at the time. So I think one of the challenges is how we get people to, let's say, define what's the best way to approach customer and how do we address, and then how do we interact with each other, understanding that utilizing these, let's say Teams, Zoom calls, I mean, we can still be very efficient and be somewhat effective. However, I think there are some habits during COVID time, for example, not getting a haircut like yourself, right? I mean, those are the things that we try to readdress. And also, I think one of the other challenges is that I think collectively as a industry, I think as a manufacturer, we're seeing it more and more difficult to get qualified laborers for the production, right? And because you can see that there are so many ways that the younger generation can make incomes. So I think for them to to be coming into the factory, you come in the shop and then do the work, clock in, clock out. I think it's a bit of a challenge. I think just in general, acquiring talents and keeping talents, I think has been a big challenge for the industry as a whole. Now, opportunities, again, I touch on Kyocera Corporation. So as a matter of fact, we're integrating together with the Kyocera side, again, underneath the electronic components business. We believe that with the technologies that we have on both sides, and also the models that we each are, very good at, we're kind of combining the best of two worlds. And so there's a lot of opportunity for us with that technology, with that integration. So with that, I think it's very exciting when we speak to our distributor partners this week at EDS, identifying the opportunities and looking at how we can service the customers together better with the technologies, with the products, and with the innovation. So I think that's the area where our opportunity lie in.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the social aspect now at this point, right? So when we first started talking, one of the biggest, I think, benefits to your organization was our sustainability opportunity and where we're going with it forward in our initiatives. How does that affect your decisions moving forward, not just as a company, but also distribution? How does that play into it?
Sure. No, I think that's a very good question. As I touched on earlier, Kyocera Corporation is a publicly listed company in Tokyo Stock Exchange. So we certainly take a lot of responsibility when it comes into CSR and when it comes into ESG. As a matter of fact, the Kyocera integrated report to the shareholders, it did touch on several things related to this area. For example, we touch on achieving carbon neutrality. So that's kind of coming from a greenhouse gas emission reduction as well as renewable energy utilization. We also touch on building a circular economy. By that, it means we want to reduce plastic waste. We want to see how our materials can be recycled through the manufacturing process. So we're really addressing those points from our own manufacturing standpoint. Now, when it comes into distribution, as you know, the nature of a business, we're selling passive components. So it's not just one part number, part number. So our distribution partners, fortunately, they're very willing to stock our inventory and stock part numbers. However, from time to time, we have these long tail part numbers of which the customers are not buying weekly, monthly, or even quarterly. So you always have those parts or that are not utilized after a certain period of time, and that's when I think the stock recovery program kind of come in and become a very good part of our entire, let's say, ecosystem or entire distribution ecosystem when it comes to, let's say, addressing the ESG side of things.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're touching a little bit upon our total value proposition that we offer to the channel. How have you seen that with us together as the last question here, as I think we both have to get off to dinner here, being at this long week in Las Vegas. But yeah, touch upon a little bit about the value in the short period of time that we've been together. I think we're probably a little bit over a year together now, so a little over a year, and we've had some successes already. So where do you see the value proposition, not only today, but where do you see this going long term?
Sure. Well, first of all, I think very much appreciate of the partnership that we have. I think we started this partnership since June last year. And also, I think I should give a special shout out to all the distribution partners that are in support of this program together.
Yep.
So I think we do see that value from the stock recovery perspective, and also some other values that Walden provides. I think we're at the initial stage of the partnership, and we're starting to get more inventory coming your way. So we haven't seen a lot, let's say, from a financial standpoint, right, or from the recovery standpoint. However, I think we do see that we're making progress, and then we're on the right path. And as a matter of fact, I was very happy to learn this week that through our meetings that we've, through the things that we've done together, you guys have already planted 28 trees on our behalf. So thank you very much for that. Certainly, I think, we as human beings, and, and I have myself 2 kids, obviously what I have in mind is that, we're on this planet Earth, and certainly, if we're not doing things that are as impactful as to the entire human being, like Elon Musk or like Zuckerberg, or Jensen Huang at NVIDIA, but at least we want to leave this world a better place or cleaner place for our future generations. So I think in that respect, the Walden program really comes in and provide lots of value to our entire distribution ecosystem. And, it allows our products to have a second chance. And with your model, it stays in inventory for more extended period of time, so that they, at some point, if the customer do need that in a different market situation, they're able to get that part number, and that to avoid that product to end up somewhere else, that is going to create some burden to planet Earth. So I think we see a lot of value in that, and certainly, again, it fits very well into our entire distribution ecosystem when it comes into the ESG side of things. So
28 trees and growing, right? So hopefully here in the near-term future, we hit that four figures, get over 1,000.
Absolutely.
But I think we're heading that direction. You guys have solid position in marketplace not only in the United States, but also globally, right? So I think it's going to be big.
Exactly. Speaking of the trees, I think we kind of talked about it the other day. Like I was like, hey, so at one point I would like to visit these trees that we're planting. And then so I think it was Don who said, or somebody else who said that, so hey, maybe you should start planning your next trip to Kenya.
Exactly. That's the next distribution meeting. Will be
Absolutely.
So anyway, Said Sheng, I really thank you from the bottom of my heart, and the fact that you come out here and speak about our partnership and market just in general. Really appreciate your partnership over the course of the last year and many more years to come. So thank you very much. And this is a wrap for EDS 2024.
Thank you very much, Rick. Appreciate it.
Thank you.